So we'll start the round of questions. So while everybody thinks about their question, because I know there's going to be that awkward 10 seconds where nobody asks a question, I'll ask the first question. So Andrew, you brought up a couple key points, I think, which everybody in the room would like to hear. So you talked about speed, you talked about complexity, you talked about conversion rate. So it sounds like you feel like probably too many hotels, which is slowing your kind of search results down, impacting your conversion. And you mentioned that's one of the reasons why your ROI isn't positive. So what do you do in that case where? What do you give? How do you weigh that, right? So it's going to take time to fix the speed. It's going to take time to fix the conversion. It's not like you can stop running your business from an ROI standpoint. What do you do during that period while you fix the operation side of your business, while you're trying to achieve positive ROI? Do you cut back on your spend? Do you continue to be aggressive? How do you weigh that balance between ROI and fixing your business?
Sure. I mean, I think as you say, it's absolutely it's a balancing act. What we have done is we have pulled back on our marketing spend right now. As I say, the more we've been spending, the more we've been losing. So we have to really rein back our activity, not to the level that I want it to be, but to the level that at least is break even. And what I've done within the business is we brought in a new, new product manager who very much holds the keys in terms of what we do new and differently on the site. And we have a very ruthless process in terms of all the things that we want to do. We, to the extent that we can do, we really try and understand and make an estimate of if we put effort here, we put effort here, we put effort here, what will the commercial benefit of that be? And it's to a certain extent it's finger in the air. To the other, but where there is data, where we have data, we use it. And obviously we have a lot of players, a lot of competitors out in the market, and we can see what they're doing already. So our challenge is to be very tightly controlled in terms of our development team that program and generate all enhancements on our website. We just try and feed through to them on a bi-monthly basis, a 2-weekly basis, exactly what we want them to do. And we're not thinking in terms of development schedules that are a year out. We're thinking only in terms of what can we do this month, what can we do next month. And what we hope to be is that we hope by the end of the year to be in a stronger position. By the middle of next year, we hope to be in a stronger position again. And as the conversion starts to improve on our sites, we then come back and then we can then start to pull in more and more traffic, which will become profitable for us again.
Thanks. Questions from the audience?
I think I'm supposed to wait for the microphone, but I don't need one. Hi, I'm Catherine Lundgren. I have a luxury tour agency here. I wanted to ask you, Mrs. Petersen, TripAdvisor was special in its inception because it was by travelers for travelers. Do you now differentiate the content posted by clients and businesses? Do you think it affects the confidence that your users have in your TripAdvisor?
It's an excellent question. We are. I mean, our original tagline was "Get the truth and go," and we've since changed it to, in the United States, it's the world's most trusted travel advice, and then in other countries, I believe we use the world's largest travel community, so we certainly are focusing on different things even in our tagline. No, I don't think... we distinguish. I mean, we always say that a piece of content is from someplace else. But I think I certainly would not say the heady days of UGC are over. I mean, there are plenty, Yelp continues as a very strong force in the States. I don't know how strong Kite is or isn't here. I've only been in the UK a couple of months, so I'm not completely grounded in all of our European friends and neighbors. We absolutely distinguish. I don't think it does anything to trust because it is all still very, very much centered on UGC. I mean, we always 21 reviews and contributions per minute. There's no way, even if every hotelier went on there and put something on, it would be dwarfed still by UGC. But UGC has its place, it will continue to have its place, but just like interacting with your Facebook friends and coming to the wisdom of friends or having client-delivered content, I think eventually we'll start seeing more and more content, and perhaps there's a trust, almost a trust meter will be associated for the client content. Perhaps a user can come on and say, I like it, I don't like it, or I trust it, I don't trust it. So I think we're just seeing a natural evolution. You're welcome.
Hello. This is a question for the Google. I have heard that Google is working on a new product called Google Travel, and I'm intrigued about it. I would like to know if you can explain us something about new idea, if it's possible. I would like to know if it's going to be a meta search engine or a kind of sharing XML interface, and also which is going to be the presence of the organic tactics and the search engine optimization techniques in this highly probable new interface. Thank you.
I don't speak Spanish, so I can't answer that. Javier? No. So a couple things. One is our goal in general. So a couple things I was alluding to, during my speech is that as people have been asking for, their queries have gotten longer, and they're asking for and demanding more specific information from us. It's very hard for us to be able to deliver that back based on a handful of keywords. So somebody typing in, New York City hotels near Central Park, we can do an okay job there, but we don't know dates, we don't know how many people, we don't know what their budget is. We can't ask those questions right now. So there's a couple things I can comment on, and there's a couple things I can't comment on. What I will say is our goal in general is kind of twofold. One is, and we talked, mostly everybody's alluded to this, where we put the users first. So if a consumer is looking for more specific information around New York hotels, it's our goal to be able to surface that information and give it to them very quickly, so then they can get to our advertiser sites. On the back end of that, we think by being able to surface better information, and I'll get to how we do that, being able to better surface information to our consumers, that the downstream effect is it's going to be positive for our advertisers as well. Because if I'm able to pre-qualify somebody by dates and times and potential price ranges, when I send them over to TripAdvisor or Travelzoo or Octopus, they've been that much more qualified, so hopefully conversion rates, more qualified leads will be sent over to our customers. So I think both sides of the equation will be fulfilled. You saw earlier when we were demoing some of the products, so we've started to play a little bit in availing or showing pricing and availability. And we initially have done that within our mapping product. So if you do the search for, Madrid hotels, we've surfaced some pricing initially from some OTAs, just because they tend to be a little faster with integration. But we'll start to surface inventory directly from hoteliers, and I think we'll look to extend that, to the point of launching and iterating. We'll try kind of different spots within the site to figure out kind of the best places to ask for information and give prices and availability. I can't really comment on the ITA front outside the fact, again, anything we're going to do within travel, it's going to be to provide consumers with better information based on what they're looking for, and then providing our advertisers with more qualified leads. But I think our initial kind of foray to figure this out has really been with the hotel price ads within Maps, and look for that to kind of iterate and expand from there.
Regarding the SEO,
what was the question?
Regarding the search engine optimization on Maps, it's going to be the new product PPC orientated, or is going to be room for organic results?
I think it's still, you're seeing TBD, I guess, is the answer. But I think what we like to do, we like objectivity. We like objectivity, obviously, in organic results, and we like there's a baseline of objectivity as it relates to paid as well. But in our initial, again, we're going to launch and iterate and figure it out from there. But you're still seeing organic results, part of that. We think it's nice to have a good mixture. So, again, directionally where we go, our thought is to provide consumers both on the, surfacing side of free information, as well as, advertisers who are paying. We think there's a good mix and blend that we can come up with that makes sense for everybody.
Oh, just to add to the point there, I mean, I personally would love to be in the position where we could buy more qualified traffic from Google than we can buy currently. So, you know, any changes in this area, whether it's on maps or wherever, I think I'd say is a positive thing. I mean, what we wouldn't like Google to do, obviously, is to start selling hotel rooms, but I can't see that happening anytime soon.
So that's the one thing I'll finish with as it relates to Google Travel, if that's what it is you know, our plans are not to get into the booking and fulfillment game. That's not what we do well. What we do well is providing information very quickly to consumers and then sending them off to our advertisers. That's what we're good at. We would not be good at handling the transaction and customer service and all the headaches that most of you in the audience have to deal with every day. We don't do a very good job of that. You saw how we did that with our phone. It didn't work out very well. Questions?
Sorry, my name is Joe. I had a question for Christine related to the pricing on TripAdvisor. I know TripAdvisor gives indicative prices for each hotel, and I'm just wondering what the methodology behind that is, because well, I'm a hotel consultant, and it doesn't really match with
Right.
what I found, and I actually emailed TripAdvisor about this a few months ago, and I got a response a few months later. But
That's why I'm here.
I'd like to know just what it's based on, just generally.
Sure.
That's why we brought Christine, because we got the email and we decided to bring her here. This is a new form of social media, direct interaction.
Live customer service. It's a great question. So our price feeds are from our partners. So it's a combination at any given time, depending on the site, Expedia, Travelocity, Orbitz, Priceline in the States, comparative online agents elsewhere. I will tell you, we know that there are problems with accuracy. We just can't, nor do those sites want us to ping them for every single search we do. So we do cache pricing. So that does lead to an issue sometimes, you know, particularly seasonality, shoulder season into lower high can be issues. There are also an enormous number of hotels on TripAdvisor, probably 25% of the listings we have, that actually are not serviced by commerce partners, the online travel agent partners. So in that case, we've scraped, and that's honestly where we have the biggest issue. It's with the smaller hotels, and that's why the TripAdvisor for Business group was formed a few months ago. And we're overhauling our customer service, putting a new director of customer service in place, so I don't have to get hate mail, hate phone calls, or deal with questions like this. Thank you.
So real quick before the next question. So first, Christoph, and maybe Christine can follow up on this, is both of you mentioned very large databases. I think you mentioned 21 million and 20 million. How do you let, within the confines of privacy, how do you really take advantage of that database and make it really work for you? Where you've got a really targeted group who's asking for information. Outside of supplying the top 20 list, is there creative ways that you can direct market to that customer base to fulfill, you know, forays into fly.com and other areas?
Yeah. So first of all, it's the other way around. We are 21 million and 20 million. No, it's
It's more than 20 million.
So the most important thing is the information that we are bringing over to our subscribers. So our subscribers, and you mentioned the users should stay first, and this is actually what we are trying to do as well. Because if you're not bringing relevant information to them, if you don't bring accurate information to them, they won't come back, or they're not telling their friends and family, or they're not using other tools that Travelzoo as services providing. So this is very, very important that we are first thinking on the user and to bring them really an added value service. Because with this added value service, and we have to bring this quality every day, and with our top 20 newsletter every Wednesday. If one newsletter is bad, it would have a very bad impact on our user base. So we have to treat them in a very good way, that they're coming back and they're knowing, okay, Travelzoo has a good newsletter, but to be honest, if I'm would like to search immediately for a flight from Hamburg to London, we use also fly.com because it's in the Travelzoo group. So it's about to create a value that is known in the markets.
And let me actually layer on one piece, Christine, before you answer, is, you were CMO when you were in the U.S., and traditionally, an online company, so you didn't do much, if any, television or kind of traditional marketing channels.
As you know.
As I'm well aware of. So how do you think through building a brand online, and kind of that metamorphosis, you kind of growing up in the online space? What are the opportunities to grow the brand online, as well as some of the challenges and pitfalls and areas that you struggle with to control it?
Okay. So covering off the database question, so more than 20 million, very, very similar. We look at data all over the place. We're constantly trying to move from mass marketing to much, much more tailored marketing. I'll tell you, privacy, we haven't had too many concerns. I mean, we don't transact, we don't have real usernames, so limited privacy concerns, although we are very, very conscious with what we do with Facebook. We're very, very cognizant of the privacy issues that are out there, and just suffice it to say we try to stay one step ahead. So how do we build a brand online? We didn't spend much money, did we? We tested lots of things with Google over the years. We really focused on, frankly, PR. That was one of the first things I did when I started the company. We focused on getting the gold mine that was TripAdvisor content out into the public. And we did that through creating very robust PR programs. And in fact, my colleague who runs PR for Spain is here. So we did that, but then more importantly, we did two other things. We grew our CRM programs. When I started, we had one mass mail newsletter called TripWatch. You came on the site, you signed up, you said, hey, I want to watch Madrid. Well, guess what? You kept watching Madrid and watching Madrid and watching Madrid. And we thought at first the answer was, well, we're just going to expire all these addresses that haven't come back and looked at Madrid in X number of months. We did that, and our revenue dropped by 25% that we were generating off of email, not overall, thank goodness. So then that's when we ended up getting very, very targeted with email, and we look at all kinds of site behavior data. Did you visit the destination? Did you write a review? Did you read someone else's review? What dates were you looking for if you ran a date search? Got much, much more targeted about CRM, and we also got a lot more creative about what we offered members. We had one year, 2008 maybe, where we had as a company goal, we wanted to triple the number of members we had. We didn't triple it, but we doubled it. And we did that by piecing apart the entire travel equation and offering either specialty content that we wrote, edited for all of our, translated for all of our sites, or we were able to package things. So we have a lot of content beyond hotels, restaurants, destinations, attractions, and we were able to package them into what we called grab it and go guides. Huge success. I think we're on a run rate to acquire like 2 million members in that first year alone, and now it's even X that number, just given the organic traffic growth on our site overall. Third piece of growing the online brand was content distribution, and so today 3 times as many impressions are generated from TripAdvisor content off the TripAdvisor site than members that come to the site today. So more than 40 million members a month, according to ComScore, worldwide. 3 times that number plus actually see our content on other sites. And that was a huge part of growing the brand as well. And we tested, we did some print, we did some radio. We've never done TV. We've done in-flight television. So we have, in fact, we still do in-flight television, but not typical broadcast buys.
More questions?
Hi, this is Juan from Booking.com. I do have a quick question on TripAdvisor, Christine. I can see that most of the financial services, when they do show the results, they tend to do so all of the advertisers at once on the same page. So my question as a user, as an advertiser, at the same time is whether it has been tested or A/B tested the option of being able to show all the other titles that the user has chosen and being able to show them actually on that very same page instead of like multiple windows.
Yes, many times. Yes, we have tested popping windows, tabbed windows, one window, although there's some issues. We're not a hotel meta search site. That's not really what we do. We've tested everything. And so what you see going on our site is what we're optimizing for. I mean, we're always holding out 10, 20, 30% of our traffic to do something else, particularly when it comes to site conversion, revenue generation. But yes, many times we've tested that. And we've tested all pieces of it, by the way, not just revenue, but we've tested bounce rates, abandons, net promoter score, so pretty comprehensive.
Questions?
Hello, I'm Sabrina Lenz from NAM, and I would like to ask you a question. We always look at the positive side. So my question is, as everyone, as your customers, can give their opinion openly on the web pages, especially, for example, on TripAdvisor, do you think that also images of the products or providers can be damaged? And if so, if there's something, if you offer these companies the possibility to remove this damage and to improve the image again?
I'll start and then Christine. So I'll let Christine answer, and you guys can also answer, like, from Octopus and Travelzoo perspective, potential negative impact. My thought in general is, again, and I think Nuevos has mentioned user first, and I think of all the traffic that we send our partners, kind of, in the U.S. and across the world, and when I do searches and I go to the landing page, and the landing page is not a great experience, or not 100% of what I was looking for, or was clunky, and I back-click immediately and do another search. To me, that negatively impacted my opinion of that advertiser or that brand that I went to. So I think it's more than just, and we'll talk specifically about instances of feedback on hotels and hotels' ability to counteract that. But I view kind of any lead or any traffic that we send a partner, that's an opportunity to gain a customer or lose a customer, short-term and long-term. And I think everybody needs to honestly take that very seriously. And we all talk about conversion, we talk about ROI immediately, but at the end of the day, if you provide a good experience, conversions will come, and if advertisers like it, they'll come, or if users or consumers like it, they'll come back. So I'm very, whenever we talk to advertisers and we go through, landing pages and making sure it's as effective as possible, it's very serious, because with the types of volume that we're talking about, there's a lot of customers that they're talking to, and it impacts us as well, where if I didn't like the result that I got, or I didn't like the advertiser's page that I went to, they're trusting Google less when they come back. So, we take that very seriously, as well as kind of the specific kind of downstream as it relates to hotels. So,
question, bad content and...
For example, there was one case with, I don't know if I can name the company, it was an airline, okay? So there was a band who wrote a song about, you remember this?
Yeah, about guitars, yeah.
So they lost the baggage, and they wrote a song, and it was on YouTube. So it was one of the most visited videos on YouTube. And it's just that I'm wondering if there are so many people giving opinions, it's a subjective opinion. So sometimes maybe there can be damage, and it's not fair. So it's just my question is just, is there something the providers can do in order to improve afterwards the image? Do you give them the opportunity, or because it's for the providers? We are providers. It's a kind of a danger to have this open internet sites with all these opinions.
So, excellent question. I can't tell you the number of times I've been asked that question. A couple of factoids. So, you hear, and frankly, I'm not sure I subscribe to bad publicity is as good as any publicity, but we hear a lot, TripAdvisor, blah, 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 ruined my business. The hotels that are out there that are saying TripAdvisor made my business, I am who I am today, I bought a second hotel you just don't hear about. But suffice it to say, there are far more examples of that than you hear about the bad. The average rating on TripAdvisor is 3.8. It's not bad. There are more good reviews than bad. I also hear everyone comes and complains, the outliers. That's not true. People love to share their great experience. And hoteliers can interact with us. So the Owner's Center, which I showed before, you can add content. You can solicit reviews from your guest. I mean, the power of the review, it's here. It's staying. So engage. Why not engage with it and ask your customers to write a review? Is it one bad customer? Ask the 20 great ones who had the great experience to come and write on TripAdvisor. Also, one of the most important things you can do is respond. So the hoteliers, while in certain instances we remove content, I mean, we do have guidelines. We're not perfect. Sometimes we do go back and realize something slipped through our guidelines. We do remove it. But the most important thing that a hotelier can do is respond, write a management response. We've heard qualitatively from consumers that a hotel that has all perfect reviews, they don't trust. They trust the review that has a few people who come in and say, well, I actually didn't like the GM, or, the water pressure wasn't heavy enough, or something like that. People love to sort of see the nuance. They love to see what kind of consumer liked it. Business, family, big difference. But again, number one, come back, respond to your reviews, both positive and negative. Say thank you. Say sorry. Say come back. Say, email me directly and book again.
I think it's important how to handle this. And the biggest mistake you can do is not to do anything. It's little children, if they don't want something, they're saying, I don't see, so not exist. But this is not working out. So I think we have to address these feedbacks very seriously. And maybe there even not exists the best way how to respond, or in which way to respond at these days, because we just do not have enough experience with that. But doing something is already a better way than not to do anything and to try to say, oh, not exist for me, I don't know about that.
Yeah, so we're going to finish up, but the last thing I'll say is, I don't know if a few years ago when JetBlue in New York had the issue where the plane sat on the runway for multiple hours, David Needleman was president at the time, and he posted a response on YouTube, basically, to Christine's point, apologizing for what had happened. And it actually got a lot of good PR out of that. And I think sometimes, maybe the United thing, I think it was the United issue with the guitar, maybe some of the feedback wasn't warranted, but I think it caused them to look in the mirror and say, maybe we do need to improve in this particular area, maybe this person was wrong. But the responses, I think, go a long way in terms of humanizing issues that somebody might have, as well as having properties kind of, look in the mirror a little bit and make improvements based on that feedback. So I think that's the end of the session. Thank you, everybody. Obviously, we'll be around tonight at the cocktail hour, so feel free to ask any questions you might have.